And now, he must break you. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. The church is going to mandate you get it on. Feeling good because Harland Williams is in studio.
Thanks, bud.
We got so much to get into.
Yeah,
and then
do.
Dolph Lundgren's coming in.
Wow, the Dolpher? I
Yeah.
call him the Dolphin.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves that.
He approaches his acting with purpose. See what I did there? That's a Harland.
Oh, you just
That's a
knocked
Harland
me right
joke.
in the blowhole.
I want to.
Wow.
I want everyone's experiences in this room. That includes Chris and yours and Dawson as well. I noticed something is happening. I took a Southwest flight to Vegas last week on Thursday.
You
right?
got to out of L.A.
You got to.
Normally, you'd never take Southwest, but for L.A. it's like 20 minutes.
I took Southwest back from Colorado. I take Southwest everywhere.
Dude.
Well, I have lowish self-esteem, and which I think surprises people, which always means they think I'm a dick. But I'm not into my own comfort that much. Like, I can sit in a Southwest flight for 2 hours. It doesn't bother me. I come from a place where that was considered sort of luxury.
Wow.
My upbringing, that having just the temperature not being too hot or too cold was a big deal. I grew up either freezing or burning up in every house I ever lived in the Valley.
Last year we flew Spirit from Philadelphia.
I flew Allegiant from Vegas, which is Spirit, essentially. From the seats don't recline, blah, blah, blah.
Why don't you just get the Wright brothers like cardboard wings that they initially made and just do that? What are you, nuts? It's not about, it's also about not being pestered. Obviously, you're a recognizable celebrity figure.
People say hi. I never care. I say hi after every show. I don't
It's not
care.
the hi. It's when people, and not that I don't like people, when they try to engage in a longer conversation and it gets very awkward. You're trying to eat your peanuts or your pretzels.
I don't care. Whatever the
Wow.
cheapest, most direct flight is, I'll usually take it. Now, so Southwest. But let me ask you guys. This is what I'm asking.
Yes.
My theory that was borne out during COVID is airlines and all businesses want to get rid of everything all the time, but they don't want to get yelled at, right? So during COVID, I noticed that there were no more lemons or limes or anything on commercial flights. If I did sit in first class, I'd order vodka soda with a lemon, and they'd go, yeah, we don't have lemons. And they got rid of everything. Was just COVID. So it was like me saying, let's see, it'd be like you saying to your woman, because of COVID, I no longer take out the trash or eat pussy.
Yeah.
Just shit you didn't want to do, but you just blame it on COVID.
Are they the same thing sometimes? Okay, keep going.
So I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
So what the airlines did is they go, well, it cost us X amount a year to cut up a bunch of lemons and limes, and who the fuck, that's just more shit. So we'll just say COVID, and we'll get rid of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I noticed. And like I said, famously, 2 years into COVID, when I ordered a drink on a flight, and I said, where's the lemon? And the woman went, we don't have lemon because of COVID. And I said, what's lemon have to do with COVID? And she said, I don't know. And she just turned around and walked away. She doesn't fucking know. By the way, if you're going to be a cheap-ass airline and you're going to get rid of citrus because of COVID, arm your flight attendants with a reasonable excuse. Do you know what I mean? Like, just give them something and go, you know what? Our distributor in Florida, the crop is bad because they couldn't find enough workers to pick the crop. Come up with something other than, I got nothing.
Well,
Fuck
how
off.
about you're getting rid of the citrus? Whenever you get sick or the flu, they say drink lots of citrus. So why not get rid of the booze and just serve lemonade?
And they use lemons as like a sanitizer, too. They'll give you a rag. It'll have a little lemon zest in it.
So they're getting rid of the one thing that has benefits.
Vitamin C.
Right.
All
it
right.
smells good.
I'm going to make an argument for citrus as it pertains to COVID, but you eliminate. All right. Now, here's the new ruse.
Oh, God.
This is the big one.
Yeah.
The last 4 or 5 times I have flown out of Burbank to Vegas, when you get on the plane, The pilot makes the announcement. Well, you're still loading onto the plane. We hit some bumps on the way out of Vegas. It was a little rough. It was a little rough coming out of it. Then they go, we have a very short 38-minute flight. And they go, I'm going to go ahead and cancel the beverage service because it was a little bumpy coming out. And there's some bumps out there. The last fucking flight, no bumps, just glass. Just nothing. Just flying out, level out, no bumps. Poor Mike August has to sit next to me because I keep yelling, where are the bumps? Where are the bumps? I'm up right into Vegas, 0 bumps. They want to get rid of the fucking beverage service. They don't want to tell you we're getting rid of the beverage service because we're cheap and it's worked into the price of your ticket. So they just go little bit bumpy on the way out for the safety of the crew. I'm going to ask them to be. And by the way, it's great for your flight attendant because no more pushing a fucking tram and trolley up and down the thing, arguing with people. You know, Mike August, he gets a suicide. He always orders an orange juice and a cranberry juice and then makes them mix it. No more of that, dickhead. No more work for them. They just sit. It'd be like if I was a roofer. Yeah. And I just announced, it was a little bit choppy driving in today. I'm just going to sit down. Not going up on the roof, not shingling today, not hanging drywall. It was a little bit choppy on the drive over, so I'm just going to sit down on this jump seat and not fucking do my job. It's happened 5 times in a row, and it's never been choppy. Yeah. And it's always the same amount. You're going from fucking Vegas to Burbank. When did the chop start? Well, there's something going on, and they're canceling the beverage.
Let me break it down for you. I saw a thing recently where it was some airline thing where they announced just by not putting black olives in a little sandwich box or in the meal thing, each airline saving like $300 million a year or some ridiculous number.
Yes.
So if you factor in that the staff aboard, the stewardesses or the flight attendants don't serve drinks for, let's say, even 30% of all flights.
Yes.
Think of the savings in terms of all the stuff they hand out, in terms of everything.
That's what I'm saying,
it's ridiculous.
Harland.
Yeah, they're always looking for... I was on a plane the other day that only had 4 tires, and there should have been 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Always?
Yeah. We saw the other 4 as we were taking off, sitting on the side.
They're an F1 team that is trying to shave hundredths of a second off of a lap. You know what I mean? Like F1, they don't go like, we're gonna go out and set, see who's on the pole. Let's go out and go on the lap. They don't go, we're going to shave 10 seconds off this thing. They're going to shave milliseconds.
But it works.
But it keeps shaving and and tweaking. Well, this can't be a coincidence, right? I'm not making this up.
No,
you're going
to show up at Southwestern in 3 years from now, and you're like, I'd like a ticket to, New York from L.A., and they're just going to say, walk. That'll be $700.
That's right.
They'll give you a napkin, and you'll walk. But... they've been doing that for a long time. They do that with the speed of the plane, right? So if they go, let's say they go 400 miles an hour to Miami from LA, but then they decide to go 420 miles an hour to LA, that costs them way more in fuel. That's why sometimes, when your flight's late, you're supposed to leave at 12, but you leave at 12:30, and they go, we'll make the time up in the air.
Yeah.
Well, they just put the pedal on the metal.
Yeah.
They could fly way faster everywhere if they wanted to, but they fly slower to save fuel.
I get it. It's a business. I'm just saying this has become a ruse now because there is no chop. There is no turbulence on any of these flights, and they keep announcing it now.
I've seen this happen multiple times as well, and my conspiracy theory is it's not the airline, it's the crew. I don't think Southwest sent out a mass email saying, hey, we got to stop serving drinks. This is what you'll say. Have the pilot say this. I think it's the crew going, hey, this is a quick flight. I hate having to serve drinks and rush through this thing. Yeah. Can you just make this announcement?
Yeah. And by the way, you owe me a Coke. First off, who's going to argue with Chop? It's not definable. I can't kick open the cockpit door and go, how choppy we talking about? Because I'm fucking thirsty. What's going on? What do you mean a little choppy? It's always a little choppy flying out of the desert. You cannot leave Vegas and not have a little chop. How much chop are we talking about? So much chop that you can't get a beverage. They know it's not definable, so they can just say it every single time. Any chop will do. And then what happened to the chop? We didn't experience anything. And if there's no chop, then I should get $8 back.
But here's the other thing. How many flights have you been on where it's been extremely choppy and these seasoned flight attendants are just walking around like it's a day in the park?
Right.
Like I've been on flights where it's literally people are almost leaving and the flight attendants are so used to it. They know how to grade chop on their own because they've been through every level of chop. And they'll just be walking around still. It isn't until the pilot forces them to sit down. But here's the other kicker, man, that drives me nuts. Well, before I get to that, the other thing is, though, how do they save money, though, whether they serve 300 drinks on one flight or 6 drinks on another? They've already paid for the cans and bottles of beverages.
Well, they'll just not serve it on the way out, and then on the way back, they don't have to refurbish and reload the drinks. They'll just use the one that I should have been drinking on the way out, or not at all. Go there and back, and just leave the cans of Coke on the plane for the next flight.
So what you're saying is they have to pay for the Cokes, and then by not serving them, they're saving on giving away free Cokes.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, you're not able to do that math?
Well, it seems to me that you can.
All right, let's put it to you this way.
You can never catch up to that, right?
No, what I'm saying is let's just say you gave out what your favorite. What do you like? Count Chocula tricks? What's your
Count Chocula. Yeah,
Count Chocula. That's your weapon of choice.
Yeah.
So what if he said, look, every time you buy a ticket to a Harland Williams stand-up show, you get a free bowl of Count Chocula.
Right.
Right? And so you had to supply the Count Chocula.
We're paying for the Count. They're paying for the Coke.
You know, they pay for the ticket. Obviously, they paid $9, $12, whatever you're worth for the tickets. But then you got to back out the Count Chocula. Right? And then you started getting up on stage going, you know, it was a little bit choppy on the ride over. So I don't want to risk the Count Chocula here. So no, we'll discontinue the Count Chocula service at the show tonight. Well, that's just more inventory for you to give away on the next concert.
That's why I only do diabetics-only shows.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I don't let sugar people in my crowd. Yeah.
You're smart.
But here's the other kicker, guy. I don't want to know the weather conditions, right? Before you take off, the guy goes, ladies and gentlemen, we're on our way to New York, and we're going to be experiencing some chop for the first 20 minutes. We're going to go through some really rough air, and then we're going to level off. And it's like, don't get me panicked and worried.
Yeah.
Let the chop happen. It's like happen. You said, it's suspect. It happens or it doesn't.
Yes.
Don't get me terrified before we've even left off that the first 20, 30 minutes of my flight is going to be hell flight.
I feel the same way.
Like, shut up. I don't need to know how cold it is in the air. I don't need to know what elevation. If a house looks like an ant, if I feel like an ant and I'm looking down, I know we're in the air. You don't need to tell me I'm 30,000 feet up. You don't need to tell me the weather. You don't need to. Just shut up.
I feel the same way about them when they have to draw blood to test it. You know what I mean? It's very unnerving. I'd rather them just come in while I was asleep. Well,
you know,
hit me,
I'm a fainter.
Oh, you are?
So when I go and give blood, I go through a whole song and dance. Pretend you're my nurse. Say, hello, Mr. Williams. We're going to take your blood today.
Hello, Mr. Williams. We're going to take your blood today. Oh, sorry. It was a little bit choppy on the drive into the hospital, so we may not be...
You're mixing them up. You're mixing them up. Stop at the chop.
Okay.
Okay. Just go again.
Mr. Williams, we're going to draw a little blood for you today. Just a routine test.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm a fainter. I don't want to see the blood. I don't want to hear you talk about the blood. I don't want you to show me afterwards. I don't want you to tell me how it's going. Well, you're giving the blood.
That's funny,
I'm going to lay on.
We had a fainter earlier this week. It was a girl who was 9 who'd been severely scarred.
Believe me.
Night terrors. But anyway, yes.
I don't like to admit this, but then I laid down. I said, I'm going to put my baseball hat over my face. Yeah. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to ask you questions. I'm probably not going to wait for the answer. I have to keep talking to keep my brain brain busy so that I don't think about the blood. So literally when I get blood, I'm laying there. I go, did you see the new Godzilla movie last night? And you try to answer. It was really good. I mean, I don't know if you like Godzilla, but he's a big green monster. Did you like Godzilla?
Well, Rodan.
My dad got a new car the other day. Like that. This is exactly what I do. Right. I have to distract myself or I'm out.
And would you be requiring a lollipop after this?
yeah.
Because that's what we gave to the 9-year-old girl with special
and a field
needs.
hockey dress. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Wait, you've never fainted?
No.
You look like you do a lot.
No, I don't.
I mean, look at you.
I don't swoon.
Dude, you faint.
No.
You probably
one time when I saw...
Here we go.
I saw... Okay.
Yeah.
One time...
I knew it.
One time...
I mean, there's a dent in your head. You have to have fainted.
One time I was at a Pier 1 and I saw Lance Bass. I fucking hit the floor pretty hard. But he was more popular back then and I was less.
You've never fainted in your life.
No, why should I faint?
Well, when you lose blood, a lot of people faint. I talked to my doctor. He said more men faint than women.
Yeah, he's trying to be kind.
He was trying to placate me.
Yeah, he was placating you.
I will faint if I lose too much blood at the dentist. I will go down.
You're not losing too much blood. It's a psychological thing.
I don't know what it is, but Daddy be
psychological.
fainting. Daddy be going to sleep like a crawdad at the bottom of the bayou.
Maybe you need a special helmet.
Maybe I do. God, maybe I just got to get rid of all my blood.
Sometimes you see those kids that have issues.
Yeah.
And they wear a helmet.
Yeah, I grew up with that. I had a sister who had to wear a helmet.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
She would have severe seizures. She would just be like standing there talking, and out of nowhere, her eyes would roll back in her head, and she would just go down.
So you were telling her a joke?
Yeah, right. And no kidding, she had to wear a hockey helmet for about 4 years.
Does she still have the helmet?
No, they found this medicine and they were able to stop this. But it was terrifying.
But did she throw the helmet away? I mean, maybe you could ask her.
The helmet was kicking around in our basement for years.
Maybe
it was
you
down
should
in
retrieve it.
Maybe I should wear it. Yeah,
go to the dentist.
Dude, it was terrifying. You'd just be talking to her, just boom, just like backwards. It was horrible.
I would blame myself.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
I blame you.
If this story was a little more interesting, it probably wouldn't go down.
Yeah.
I would turn it on myself, Harlan. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You got to figure you played a role in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got it. But it was so weird to see your sister and we're Canadian, so it sort of fit. Like you'd wake up and there's your sister at the table with a legit like a CCM hockey helmet on. Like a real legit hockey. It was a hockey helmet because where else do you in the 70s? Where do you get a helmet?
They don't have fainting helmets,
right?
So she had hockey helmets.
She didn't have the face guard, but just the helmet, and it was a white helmet, and it was just so bizarre.
But I heard if you were in the league before 1979, you didn't have to wear the helmet.
Right. So. Yeah. And it was funny. We'd be sitting at dinner, and a puck would fly in and hit her in the face. It was crazy.
You had the organist in the background.
Yeah. Every time she fainted, I love her though, my little sister. It was luckily she came out of that phase. It was about 4 years. It was terrifying.
And I noticed, since we're talking about picadillos here,
what's a picadillo? Isn't that an orchestra instrument?
Oh, it's that.
He plays the picadillo. Didn't Kenny G play that?
Oh, it's a piccolo.
Oh well.
You
say tomato, I say tomato.
We're
you say picadillo, I say piccolo.
A glass to use before you came in.
Here we go. I knew he wouldn't let it go.
You refused to use one of our glasses.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you.
Well,
it's a germ thing, right?
Yeah.
He brought in a plastic bottle of iced tea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you guys didn't want the label on it, which I get. So they said, hey, pour it into one of our coffee mugs.
No,
we've all been to the coffee room at the office building. Mm-hmm. Those coffee mugs have more stains than Barry Manilow's underwear.
That's true, yeah.
Like the skid marks in a coffee mug are sometimes bumpier than the skid marks in Barry Manilow's underwear.
I said you could use a glass and you could clean it yourself if you wanted.
Yeah, but it's like all I'm picturing is thousands and thousands of Adam Carolla staff lips and your lips, and who knows what's been on your lips. Like I look at your lips lips right now, and I can see like Captain Crunch and a little bit. Did you have a pork chop last night?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, see? I don't want that in my system, guy.
Is there a connection between the fainting and the glass? You know what I mean? In terms of just the wiring that maybe it's a little subpar.
No, the fainting comes from the sucking of blood out of your system. We're the only creatures that do that. You don't see a zebra go, well, I better go give some blood today. You know, Of course I'm in a faint. We weren't meant to have our innards sucked out in a nice, comfy lounge setting.
But what I'm saying is it's a psychological thing. Most people don't have that.
Well,
it's not about blood loss. It's a psychological thing.
Do you want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
My sister wore the hockey helmet.
Mm-hmm.
When we were kids, we used to have, in Canada, we had the milk. You know, you have the milk at dinner.
Uh-huh.
And I would get the milk, and I would always pour a little bit in her glass before I poured it into mine. And my parents were like, why do you do that? And I go, because the scum floats to the top of the milk. And so my sister would go, har! Like I'd pour the... Like
I'd pour pirate?
This. No, my name's Harland. She called me Har.
Okay.
She'd go, Har! Like she'd get all mad at me.
Yeah.
Because I'd always give her I'd pour the top of the milk into her cup. And then I'd never drink the bottom of the milk in my own glass because that's where the scum sinks.
Yeah.
So I'd only drink the middle of the milk.
The middle of the milk. Yeah.
That's for real. Maybe I needed the helmet. I don't know.
There's things, going on with you, Harlan, that have run a little deeper than just that isolated things that we're talking about.
Well, wait a minute. We got the middle of the milk. We got the skid marks in the coffee cup. That's 2 things. And fainting. That's 3.
I'm saying...
What do you got going on there, triple threat, Johnny?
It speaks to a wiring
that,
may be suspect. That's all I'm saying. So
I think, look into. My
That's
doctor said it's more common for guys to faint. And have you fainted?
I've never fainted.
No one's ever fainted.
Okay, just
he was trying to make you feel good about your situation.
My fainting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you've never... You don't have any little quirks where you're like a little bit like germaphobe, or there's something you don't do in the bathroom, or you stand up shitting?
I eat stuff off the floor and... that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, he'd take the top of your milk happily.
Yeah, you're the guy that flies in economy. Yeah, you don't give a crap about anything.
I don't give a shit. That's right. I'll do anything.
There's got to be something. You must have some quirky eating habit where you're in public, you don't want to touch the fork, or you won't ladle the soup out of There's got to be something.
No, I don't have anything. People, I realize, still think I'm a weirdo, but they think I'm a weirdo by modern standards because I don't do anything. People go, I don't use shampoo. I don't really use soap. I don't wash my hands.
Here we go. Okay, suddenly I'm not the freak in the room.
No, I'm saying I don't engage. Look.
You don't shampoo your hair?
No.
No wonder it looks like a sea urchin. What the fuck are you doing?
During COVID, I didn't wipe anything down. I shook everyone's hand. I will go out and shake hands and take pictures with 80 fans after a show and then walk back to the green room and grab a handful of cashews without washing my hands.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I used to get sick 3 or 4 times a year. Mm-hmm. And I started going, why? Why am I getting the cold and the flu 3 or 4 times a year? I did research. It turns out when you shake hands, most of the bacteria from flu or cold is transferred through a handshake. You touch your eyes, nose, or mouth, you got it. Right. I stopped doing it. I started doing the fist pump 20 years ago. I never get the flu.
Just got done doing 6 shows, shook everyone's hand.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Then I don't wash my hands when I go back.
Yeah, it's gonna catch up to you.
Yeah.
But what do you mean? Let's get back to your hair, bro. You never wash your hair.
Not with shampoo.
What do you wash it with?
I just rinse off. You don't need shampoo. You can just rinse. You can rinse yourself.
That's true.
It's all cooked up by Lever and Procter & Gamble and all the... Listen,
now we're talking about your wiring, because 99.999% of the people listening wash their hair. When was the last time you washed your hair?
With shampoo?
Yeah. No, with dog food. Of course with shampoo.
Sorry, you're right. That was dumb. If you gave me a bottle of shampoo, and my birthday's coming up in May, Harlan, so I'm just kind of setting the table.
I can see the pert already.
If you get me a bottle of shampoo for my birthday,
I will.
A regular-sized bottle of shampoo, I will get 5 to 10 years use out of it. Because I will never use it.
When was the last time?
Never.
Come on.
You don't
want to
need
sniff
shampoo.
your head right now. Can I sniff your head?
Yes, you may. You don't need...
I'm getting up and sniffing his head.
You don't need shampoo. You don't need it.
Hold on.
Listen.
Hold on. That's like a Cracker Barrel.
Yes.
Dinner number 4.
Yeah.
Meatloaf. A little bit of gravy, but it fucking smelled good. Can I lick your hair?
Yes. All right. Now listen to me. Listen.
It's like that wallpaper at Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You lick his hair and you live forever.
Everybody, just listen to me for a second. First off, we just got done with COVID. Everything they said was incorrect.
Yeah.
They tried to force you into use all the stuff, wipe all the stuff down, do all this stuff, put the mask on, do it. None of it worked. All right. Okay. Here's what people need to understand about how our society works. I just had this discussion with a concerned woman.
Okay.
She found a vape pen and was concerned with the teenage daughter's son.
Okay.
Okay. Then I said, what was the vape? I don't know that much. Was it a tobacco? Is like a nicotine vape pen, or was it pot? And then she said, I hope it's pot. And I said, why? And she said, because the vaping, it's so bad for you. The tobacco was so bad. I've had this conversation with way more than one woman. And I said, there's nothing, it's just water vapor and nicotine. Where you want the kid hooked on nicotine? I said, what's the difference between caffeine and nicotine? You have 2 cups of coffee every fucking day. It's a stimulant. It's not bad for you. What's bad for you is the smoke part of it. And she goes, I've seen a million stories of it. First things first, we're nuts. We'd rather fucking teenagers be high than take something that's inert into their body. But then she said to me, how come there's so many tests and how come there's so many studies about how bad? And I said, these are the people that say 55,000 people die of secondhand smoke every year. You want to know who dies of secondhand smoke? Nobody. You don't think they fucking lie about everything to get you to stop doing something or start doing something? AIDS is an equal opportunity killer. It'll take a heterosexual. No, it won't. It kills gays.
You're turning red.
Jesus fucking Christ, everybody. They make shit up. They force it up the ass of dumb women, and then they impose it on everybody. That's how it works. That's how the shampoo works.
Red.
That's how all the Purell works. That's how all this shit works. That's how it works. I don't fall prey to it. I don't listen.
Your skin is red. You look like Satan with dirty hair.
Go through life this way. Like this, I'm like, yeah, but it's so bad. Like, what's bad? The water vapor or the nicotine? What's the bad part? They do these whole fucking campaigns and they make up this shit. Like, oh, he's gonna get fur lung from it or something. Yeah, but nothing comes out the other end. Remember, 20% of people that get COVID are gonna have long-term damage to their. No, it don't. No, they don't. They lie.
Yeah.
They fucking lie. They've been saying 55,000 Americans die of secondhand smoke for 30 years. Nobody dies of secondhand smoke. That's how it works. They lie.
Firemen do.
Okay, but they lie.
Yeah.
They lie all the fucking time. And it's to get you to do shit they want you to do.
Yeah.
Okay. I used to pass a billboard on the way to Loveline, 55,000 Americans. I said to Dr. Drew, does anybody die of secondhand? She said, never treat it, never heard of it. Do you know anybody?
Yeah.
No. They lie.
Yeah.
And it affects people, and then they become little foot soldiers in their retarded army. And then I have to have arguments with them. That's how life works.
We're all like that. When I go shopping for groceries, it is such a guilt-ridden thing because all I hear in my head is cholesterol this, high blood sugar that, fat content this, diet this, sugar that, cancer this. It's like going to buy groceries is one of the most stress-filled gauntlets you can ever run because oh, there's some nice cold cuts. And your hand's halfway, you go, oh, wait, leukemia. You pull your hand back.
That's right.
Oh, there's some nice juicy hot dogs. Oh, wait, rectal cancer. Oh, there's some eggs. Oh, cholesterol. Like, I go in and I leave with nothing.
All right. Well, you do get the Count Chocula.
I get the Count Chocula, and I'm going to buy a bottle of shampoo next time I'm there for my little buddy. My little buddy, yeah. My little buddy.
I went into Harland's.
Dude, you turned red.
House.
Okay, I can't get around it.
I'm so fucking done with everybody and their fucking
there
retarded
he goes.
nonsense.
He's turning. Here he goes. He's
why do I
red.
want to go through half my adult life arguing with people who've been lied to by the government?
I've never seen a person. You're like Hot Stuff, the little devil.
They always go like, well, why would they do? Why would they? I don't know why they lie about secondhand smoke. Why? We don't know they lie about tons of shit all the time. The fucking food pyramid was backwards the entire time. They fucking lie about shit all the time.
Well, just the fact
the question is why are you listening to them?
Yeah.
I mean, she goes, well, then why would they do it then if it wasn't bad? I was like, did we just get done with COVID? You didn't ingest all those lies?
Well, didn't Al Gore say the New York and Florida was going to be underwater like 10 years ago?
Every 9 years, they give us 4 more years before. All the people that say California is going to be underwater, all are the ones who buy multi-million-dollar homes in Malibu. Yeah. And as I've said a million times, you want to buy on one side of PCH, you want to get on the hillside, same house, you'll save $15 million. Yeah. You want to move to the other side where you're on the ocean? Yeah. You just add another $15, $20 million to the price. Those people, it's not a bunch of fucking Ted Nugent listening MAGA guys. It's all the wokesters are the ones that are paying the extra $20 million to live right against the sea. Yeah. That they say
will swallow
it's going to swallow them.
Yeah.
So what do they know?
Well, what about acid rain? When I was growing up, they were saying 300 lakes a day are going to die from acid rain, lose their pH balance, neutralize the water, kill the plant life, in essence, destroying the amphibians and the reptiles.
Who's turning red? Who's turning red now?
I'm turning fucking red. I'm turning fucking Baskin-Robbins mint chocolate chip. That's
acid rain.
I don't have enough blood in me to turn red. I'm going to faint any second.
Acid rain was a huge thing that they never talked about anymore, and we were given to Canada. I used it was
the end of the world back then.
I'd say
now it's gone.
Acid rain sounds like the worst thing ever.
When did you ever hear of acid rain in the last 20 years?
Gone.
And yet it was going to kill everything.
No, they've moved on. Yeah. They've moved on to whatever they're trying to fucking scare us with now. Now what they have to do is they have to move on. Every once in a while, we moved on from secondhand smoke to vaping kills because after 30 years of nothing, they have to move it on because nothing happened.
Yeah.
Yes, I used to say to my Canadian friends,
cute.
We gave you acid rain, you gave us Alan Thicke. I think we got fucked. God rest his soul.
Yeah. Miss him.
Yeah. All right, now I'm sweaty.
Dude, like seriously? Like you think I'm joking? You turned beet red.
I'm angry. I'm so fucking done with all the lies, and I wouldn't bother.
I don't want to talk about your
here's
anger.
The thing.
I want to talk about your pigment change like a chameleon. Have you ever seen an octopus on the bottom and it changes colors? You literally changed color. You blended in with that red slash on the back of your sign.
Let me use this as an example.
Like part of your face was gone. It was just that
angry.
We'd offer him a face cream for it, but he wouldn't use it.
If you want to be in a fucking religious cult where you think the rapture is coming, and every 6 months you and your other cult buddies just get your lawn chairs and your Triscuits and go up to the top of Mount Pinos, waiting for the rapture.
The raptures are already here. Have you not seen Jurassic Park?
It never. That's a raptor.
Oh, well, Piccolo.
You're right. You're waiting for the rapture, and you and your cult buddies want to go to the top of the mountain and wait on Friday night because the rapture's coming.
Can we just
Saturday
go to the
morning.
mall? A mountain's a lot of work.
I'm saying this is what cults. There are cults that do this. They do the math. With the Bible or the Scripture or the Old Testament or something, they figure it out. They go, now we're all just going up to the mountain and we're going to wait. And then they wait, and then some point, Sunday morning comes along, and they get hungry, and they come back down the hill.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, and you want to be in that cult, that's your fucking business.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be in your cult.
Right.
And the problem is with all the fucking misinformation and all the lies and all the bullshit, I now am indoctrinated in your cult because I surround myself with nutty cult members who buy into all your shit. And now I can't walk down the horse trail without some bitch telling me to pull up my mask. They're in the cult. I'm getting harassed. So it's like I get dragged with you to the top of this fucking mountain to wait for the rapture. I don't believe in it. And it's never going to come, and it doesn't affect me, except for now I'm being affected because you guys have been infected. That's what I'm saying.
You're a turnip right now. You are a red fucking turnip. Simmer down.
Well, I don't want to have to turn up on the mountain.
Drink some Head and Shoulders. Drink something. Like maybe you should be drinking your shampoo as a kind of a relaxant, a stimulant.
All right.
Flush out your insides.
I just got sucked into a COVID cult for 3 years that I never wanted to join.
Well, we had no choice. Yeah.
We could have done something if cult members had fucking denounced your association with the cult, but you didn't. You ran happily into the cult and then wanted to yell at anyone who didn't want to join your retarded cult.
Yeah.
We could have. And you go, who would lie? Like, who would lie about vaping? Like, why would the government? I don't know. You didn't just have Rochelle Walensky, head of the CDC, lie for 3 years, or Fauci, or whoever's running LA. You didn't feel like they were just lying. You know, like they knew what was going on. My son counts every day before he goes to summer camp, and on the last day, I said, "You don't think she's lying?" She says
life
that?
is a series of lies. Adam.
Yes, smarten up and don't listen to them, you cultists.
Know, but I just don't get...
Shampoo's in there too, Harland.
Shampoo's a lie?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the cavemen didn't use shampoo, and their bodies were 98% hair. And they did okay.
You know who has the best hair? Who has the best head of hair in Los Angeles?
Kenny G?
No. The homeless population.
Well, I don't know.
They have the best hair.
All they
do is fucking fentanyl. They eat out of trash cans and do fentanyl, and then we're out here rubbing in the Rogaine, and we got no hair. They got all the hair.
Dude.
The 65, 70-year-old dudes with a huge mop of hair.
Yeah, but
why? Because they don't shampoo.
Yeah, but there's a cob of corn in their hair. There's a cob of corn and a can of Campbell's mushrooms
in their hair.
Yeah.
But they always have the most hair.
Yeah, they may have the most, but if you ever lose your car keys, just go into a homeless guy's hair. I found my couch in one of them the other day.
Who has the most hair and uses the least shampoo? Answer: homeless. So let's do that math, Harland.
No, the homeless hair is not pretty.
It's the biggest, though. It's the most.
I went over and sniffed your hair. It actually smelled good and clean. Surprisingly, I don't think a guy at the corner of La Brea and La Cienega is going to have a hair that smells like Pottery Barn blueberry cranberry candles.
It's
probably going to smell like
the homeless would benefit if their hair fell out.
It would?
Yeah, they would benefit.
No, well, then we'd be stepping all over it on the side. I don't want to trip on a ponytail with a cob of corn in it.
I see homeless people, and they have a huge mop of hair. Everything else is falling completely apart. Teeth are falling out.
What about their pubes?
Pubes gone.
How do you know, you freak? Oh, busted.
I'm blowing this homeless guy.
Yeah.
Well, he had such a crazy head of hair that I just became attracted to him.
Let me guess, you shampooed his crotch before you won't shampoo your own hair, but you'll shampoo a homeless guy's crotch.
Everyone, they're lying to you about everything, and here's how they do it. They get the women, then they get the women on their side, and then the women enforce all the rules, and they go, "Oh, it's so gross." If you ever talk to a woman, I go, "What about I don't use shampoo?" "Oh, it's so gross, so gross." They always get in. They're the enforcers. They're the shoppers. Who buys all the fucking Purell? Who buys all the fruit wash? Who buys all the shampoo? That's what they do.
Do you use soap?
Nah, not really.
Can I smell your armpits?
I got another place.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
All right, we got to do news. I mean, Dolph Lundgren's going to be here.
Okay.
I like to kind of get my composure before Dolph comes in.
Yeah, you can't be all red around Dolph because he's Russian.
A big star.
He's Russian. Yeah, you don't want to be red.
That's right.
Have you had Dolph Lundgren here?
I don't think he's Russian, by the way.
Well, he acts Russian, so that's good enough for me. Yeah. Have you had him in?
Yeah, I've interviewed Dolph before, yeah.
Okay, you don't have to snap my head off.
Sorry, I'm trying to think. He zoomed in last time, so when he said we had him in, I'm sort of... Hey, but listen, when you pass him in the hall, don't bother him.
Yeah.
He doesn't know who you are.
Yeah.
Just take my word for it. He's a big star. Okay, so don't hassle him for a picture, or do your fake Rocky accent or anything. Just leave the man be.
I don't intend to ever meeting him.
Okay.
Relax. Jeez.
All right, we should take a break then.
Yeah, you need to.
I'm
You
sweaty.
need to like. Have you ever seen a thermostat when it goes up into the red?
Yeah.
You need to cool down and let the red fade out of your face.
I'm excited.
You're like
I'm animated.
Beelzebub.
I'm animated. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna dial it down.
Yeah.
I just saw Dolph walk by, so
Okay.
don't talk to him.
I won't.
And don't even establish eye contact.
No, I won't.
Remember when you came in to say hi
Dolph who?
today?
Yeah.
And I didn't look at you?
I walk into Adam. I go, "Hey, buddy." I put up my fist to give him a fist pump. He's not even looking and kind of half puts his fist out, misses my fist because he's not looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to stop him. I said, "Will you stop and look in my eyes?" And then he finally did.
Yeah. So don't do that with Dolph.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
Thank you.
All right. Well, quick break. We'll do some news right after this. Let me tell you about the wellness company Medical Emergency Kit. Almost 90% of pharmaceuticals are produced outside the U.S. Will you have what your family needs in the next crisis? With recent outbreaks of respiratory illness in China and white lung syndrome in the U.S., you need to be prepared with the wellness company's Medical Emergency Kit. 8 life-saving medications, including amoxicillin, Z-Pak, and ivermectin, along with a guidebook for safe use. The wellness company's chief medical board, well, that is Dr. Drew. You know Dr. Drew Pinsky. And Dr. Peter McCullough, the guy who was right about everything COVID. And other truth tellers are on that board as well. And they're rooted in empowering you to take control of your health. The wellness company's Medical Emergency Kit, from tick bites to COVID to bioterror events, every scenario is covered. Am I right, Dawson?
Go to twc.health/ACS and grab your medical emergency kit right now. That's twc.health/ACS. Code ACS saves you 10% at checkout. Don't wait until you need it. Take control of your health today with the Wellness Company's Medical Emergency Kit. As we venture into our 15th year of podcasting, here's another memorable moment from the Adam Carolla Show's Ace Awards archives.
I did a benefit for Bernie Sanders the other night.
Saunders. He's
What's
Canadian.
his name?
Sanders, but you're
Sanders.
Canadian.
If he grew a white goatee, would he be like Colonel Bernie Sanders? And his platform would just be chicken and coleslaw?
That wouldn't be very sturdy.
I think everybody should have their own fried chicken and some coleslaw. That's what I think. But he's got that crazy hair. He's got that, like Saunders has the Dairy Queen Blizzard do.
Right.
It looks like someone went into his house, installed 9 ceiling fans, put them on full blast, and he doesn't know how to turn them off. I think my hair's it's blowing all around.
Now for some new memorable moments, let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Harland Williams got shows, man. He's flying first class to West Palm Beach, Florida. It's going to be at the Kennel Club February 2nd through the 3rd. God, I can't remember who said it to me just recently, but they're like, Harland is one of the funniest stand-ups out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
wanted
agree.
to get him a helmet, but I agreed. Harland does great stand-up, and it's going to be HYENAS Comedy Club. That's coming up February 9th through the 10th. And then
In Dallas. I've never been to... Have you ever been to the HYENAS in Dallas?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love Dallas. But it's just the history there. I mean, that guy that shot the KFC and all that. It's really,
Yeah. Yeah, you should go and look at the world's worst monument. Have you seen the Kennedy Monument?
You missed what I said.
You went to Dallas. The guy shot the KFC.
Yeah, and why are your glasses fogging
My
up?
head is so hot.
You literally have condensation on your glasses.
My brow.
Dude, calm the fuck down, Carolla. Fucking calm. Yeah, if we're looking at the pride flag right now, you're the red. Okay, like calm the fuck down.
You're the
bro.
brown. So how about that?
Yeah. Why don't you just use our glass, Harland?
Yeah, come on, Harlan.
That's what caused all this.
You set me off.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got?
All right, so police in Los Angeles, they were searching for a group of alleged dog nappers who drove off with a French bulldog while its owner clung to the hood of a car. There's video of this. So the theft was reported outside of a So this woman was outside of a Whole Foods market. She feels her dog wandering away. She looks up and there's a woman holding it who jumps into a car. She gets in front of the car to stop them. They just drive into her. She's on the hood, and you can watch them driving down the street as she's holding on the windshield wipers.
And they're speeding,
car,
too.
Speeding across the intersection.
Wait, where's the dog?
In the
back
car.
seat, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so in the car, she said she saw 3 women, and then there's a guy driving.
She said the 3 women were black and fat. I thought.
Wow.
By the way, when
She's descriptive, yeah.
Well, you got to look. I mean, we do this thing where it's like, well, we can't really say what race they were, like what shape they were, because that's like black and fat. That's like 0 for 2. But if you're looking for somebody,
I think
you
the proof
have to sort of describe what they look like.
The proof is in the pudding. Those wheels are squished right into the rims. Look at them. There's got to be 3 fatties in that car.
Looks squatted, yeah.
There's something going on. There's some.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Like, so LA's approach to crime is like, hey, man, don't go out with that Rolex watch on. You're going to get robbed. Like, our thing is like, hey, lock it. Don't leave shit in your car. Don't wear an expensive watch. Don't do a bunch of stuff. But there's an alternative, which is we could actually have a functioning police force and DA and things like that, and then stop crime. So we could go outside. But going outside without a Rolex is doable. It's not doable to go outside without your dog. The dog has to
what kind of
take a
world
walk.
do we live in where you can't go outside with something that licks its own asshole? You know what I mean?
That's right.
Like, I mean, you'd think that could get left alone. And by the way, a dog napper, why would you want to steal a dog when you're in the middle of a nap? That seems like a lot of work.
No, it's like it's a play on kidnap.
Okay, well, you don't have to snap my head off, turnip face.
Yeah, so that's where we're at as a society now. We're into L.A. We're into dog napping.
What's the
These
dog
French bulldogs.
thinking, though? Looking out the back window. He's looking up at the front window. There's his owner going 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Like, looks like she's floating. You probably think she's Supergirl or something.
I'll tell you what the dog's thinking.
What?
The dog's thinking a dog's greatest joy is to hang their head out of the window while the car's moving.
Sure.
She probably thinks this person is on a pure pleasure cruise. You know
Hanging
what I mean?
out the window.
Well, just putting your
Fully
head
committed,
Just putting your head out the window is great. Then hanging onto the hood would be awesome for a dog.
Right.
You know, in terms of all they want is the maximum amount of air hitting them.
She's living the dream.
She's living the dream on the hood of that Kia.
These people that give their life for their dogs, you ever see the ones that somehow they fall into the surf and there's an undertow and people jump, or the LA river's flooded, they'll jump in after like a wiener dog and forfeit their whole life to help Sparky, who only probably had 4 years left because dogs don't live long anyway.
When they interview strangers, at least half of them say, or they interview people and they go, if you saw a stranger drowning or your dog drowning, like who would you say? Most will go the dog.
The dog, yeah.
I would just lie during that survey.
Well,
I would go, is there a stranger drowning now? And they'd go, no, it's a hypothetical. And I go, well, in that case, I'll do the stranger.
Yeah.
Why am I admitting that I'm an ass?
Well, probably you should.
You should.
Yeah, I think
You
people
don't
should
have
know
a dog.
you're an ass.
You don't have a dog.
Are
do
you an ass?
You don't have a dog. No, I would save the fucking stranger.
I don't know that you would.
I would. I have a
I don't
rich
think you
history
jump in
of
the water at
interview-
all
Yes, I
because
would.
you don't want to get your fucking hair wet.
I would.
You don't want to
just
wash your hair.
tell- I would just recounting.
You just stand there. Hey, I would, but I can't. I can't. I've got 8 straight years of not getting a drop of moisture on my scalp, but have a nice drowning.
Oh, no, I go in the ocean.
Oh, yeah?
And then I shower off with the water at the shower in the ocean, and then I go about my day.
No, you go to the ocean and then you submerge to where the sharks get picked by all the little smaller fish. And
The pilot fish.
yeah, you have the pilot fish and the remoras suck on your head with their suction cup and suck all the corn niblets out of your hairdo.
All right, you're getting
Still
punchy
cleaning it.
now. You're speaking gibberish.
Yeah. So this woman, she, after a few blocks, she was thrown off of the hood, severed cuts and bruises, refused to go to a medical facility. She was
I
offered-
like the cut of this woman's jib, man. I would
Yeah.
hire her in a second.
Well, so over the weekend, they're fielding tips to see if anybody's seen this French bulldog. These are a high commodity item. Remember, these are the ones that Lady Gaga, dog walker, was shot over, and her dogs are stolen. So
Just the idea that this is a thing means we've completely bottomed out as a society. We've bottomed out LA's just hit its bottom that this is a fucking thing.
Well, what would have been great is if she flew off the front of the car at 80 miles an hour and hit someone else's dog and killed it.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
That'd be poetic.
And then she would have had to given her Frenchie to make up for it,
Right.
and she loses no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's fielding tips, and a guy reaches out and says, "Hey, I know your dog's being held, and I'll help, but I don't have gas. Can you send me $50 and we'll meet at this gas station?" And she sends it to him. Never seen it.
This is-
She was totally scammed.
This is, once again, we
Poor
have
girl.
bottomed out as a society. We bottomed out, Harlan. That's the bottom. That's even lower than the
Yeah.
actual
Yeah.
dog nappers.
That's brutal. That is just, open salt wound. That's like going to the steak shop. Forget the salt. It's the guy with that giant pepper mill just going like that right in the wound. Like, more pepper in that wound, you dog missing freak.
Oh, God.
Wow.
$50 for gas. That's believable in LA, but
That's why I
Jesus
just wish I
Christ.
could turn into Ghost Rider. Like, somebody grabs my dog, I just press a button on my leather jacket, my head bursts into flames. Give me my fucking dog back. Here you go. And done. You know
Hop
what I mean?
on your Harley with the chains dragging
Right,
off
man.
it.
Like, come
Did you
on.
see that movie, Harlan?
Yeah, I love Ghost Rider.
Oh, really? You didn't have a problem?
The first one I loved.
You didn't have a problem with the jump goalpost to goalpost?
In the first one?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I remember liking the movie.
You didn't have any problem with the fact that he had a ramp going up one goalpost and another one on the landing one.
Oh, in the opening scene before he became the Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that part.
Well,
I'm focusing
do.
mostly
I
on the
remember it
flaming
like it
skull.
was yesterday. You want to know why?
Because your hair stinks?
Because they said 300 feet goalpost to goalpost.
Right. Impossible.
Do you know how far goalpost to goalpost is?
300 feet?
Fucking Canadians.
Yards.
know
300
anything.
yards. 300 centimeters.
Now she's
300
going metric. Look what she did.
Okay, hold on. Let me break this down the way you do it. I'd lay, let's see, 3,000 Head and Shoulders shampoo bottles end to end. That's 300.
It's 360 because the goalposts are in the back of the end zone.
Well, they're in the middle, aren't they?
When they kick a field goal,
Yeah.
and the guy's kicking the ball from the 40-yard line,
Yeah.
it's a 50-yard field goal.
Right. But wait, the foundation's in it, but then the way field goals work, they bend them forward and then up.
They cantilever.
Right. So the foundation is at a certain spot,
The base is
but then
back
the
like
metal
4 or
is
5.
bent forward.
It's
so
right
you're
in the
inaccurate.
back. No, I am not.
You are.
Yeah, you watch that movie. It was a lie, Harlan. They said
Wait, you're telling me a
300
guy
feet.
can't light his head on fire and be a flaming skull and still talk?
Everything is in question
What the hell?
after the fact that they said 300 feet.
And the announcer was just underselling the achievement.
Adam, there's
right.
no Incredible Hulk, there's no Thor, and there's no Spider-Man. Are you going to be okay? And you sit
Don't do
here,
this to him.
you're turn red
Hold on.
guy.
Dolph
and
Lundgren
I
was
gotta-
in Aquaman.
He
don't-
was?
Yeah, so don't say
Certainly.
anything about Aquaman. We have the clip. It's going to anger you.
What?
This is
Dolph Lundgren?
No.
Oh, this is the. I'm okay. Show it. I love.
Ghost Rider.
Leap of death.
Oh, over helicopter blades.
That's right.
Even.
God, you're gonna make it.
He's having a fantasy about his girlfriend.
Well, he's over the rotating chopper
Yeah.
blades.
Yeah, he misses her. And he makes it. Well, I kind of needed the announcer part, not the actual silent part, Byron. Where they,
Wow.
Well, that's the feat.
Now I want to see
Yeah.
this movie again.
but they're just about to announce it, I think. But Byron, the part where nothing happens, if anyone's listening, is
A lot
not
of things happen.
a lot has happened. But the part where there's no audible,
Yeah.
But the
Goalpost to goalpost.
I don't think if you're
feet.
going to a movie about a guy who Satan allows to burst into flames and his skull can talk, you should be worrying about the semantics of how long a motorcycle jump is. I think you
My
kind of got to
problem-
suspend disbelief
my
when you hear the
problem
word
is
Ghost Rider.
It was mentioned multiple times in the script. There's a script, and more than once they said 300 feet. More than once. I'm saying, is there any supervision of that script?
Well, when you went into the movie, did you believe in a flaming skull guy?
I was willing to suspend
Yeah.
my belief.
You are out of
and I wanted to be taken on a journey, and I was yanked right out of it with that misinformation.
You know what? You could.
These are the same
you know what? Your
people-
head could never blow into a burning skull. 'cause-
Something with shampoo?
No, you need a helmet. That's why. God.
I'm saying these are the same people that say 55,000 people die of secondhand smoke every year. God, it's the same. It's all a lie. It's all numbers.
Yeah.
Don't believe them.
It
those
always
people
is.
wrote Ghost Rider. Those are the people that wrote
Yes,
Ghost
that's
Rider.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're on a campaign to lie to you.
The lies will never end. They've always been there. You know. It's sad.
You like the movie? You like being lied to in a movie? That's fine.
What
That's your
movie haven't you been lied to?
Well,
Rocket Man.
Huh?
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man. Yeah, I really went to Mars. Okay. See? I hate to burst your bubble.
All right, let's do another story.
All right. So Alyssa Milano over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
They were talking about her and something she tweeted. So she put up a link with the caption, "My son's baseball team is raising money for their Cooperstown trip. Any amount would be so greatly appreciated." And it was a GoFundMe link seeking to raise $10,000 to help her son's team travel to the Cooperstown Dreams Park for the tournament. A lot of people quoting that tweet, upset about it, saying, "You're Alyssa Milano. You should be able to afford to send these kids out to Cooperstown. What's going on?" So they were kind of giving her a lot of flack about it. And yeah, she also defended her ask, saying, "I'm getting media inquiries about whether I financially contributed to my son's baseball team. I've paid for uniforms for the entire team and coaches. I've thrown birthday parties and sponsor any kid who can't afford their monthly dues."
Well, all right. Let's break down this game, Phil.
I'm gonna jump. I don't like Melissa Milano,
Why?
but I'm gonna defend
How
her.
about Alyssa Milano? What about her? You like her?
Her I like.
Oh, okay, it's
yeah.
Melissa, her
Well,
evil
it's
sister
my show.
with a
It's
helmet.
my podcast. I'll
Okay.
say it the way I want to say it. You just sit there and turn red there, Lord Fortnoy.
How about Alyssa Etheridge?
Okay.
You like her?
She'll fly through my window, I hope. But here's the thing. Because she's rich and famous, it's not incumbent on her to pay for everyone else. When you do a fundraising thing, it creates a sense of community. Sometimes people like to contribute, and sometimes when you're the big wig with the money, oh, it's $10,000 for let me take that. Sometimes, believe it or not, the other members of the team resent you because maybe they wanted to feel like they helped contribute, and even if they don't say they resent you, they might resent you inside because like, oh, there goes the rich one again. So if I'm Melissa, I'm like, you know what, I'll contribute, I'll help, but then let's let everyone, we'll do this as a kind of communal community thing, which I think is the healthy way to do it versus someone just saying, oh, I'll do all that, you know?
Yeah, I don't think it's incumbent upon her to pay for it. But I have kids, and they would go, oh, they're going to go to Valley Forge for like a summer thing with the school or whatever, and like each parent has to pony up $950. It's not, we don't go rattle the can and see if people in other communities can pay for our kids to go to Valley Forge,
right?
Or you can't afford it. And you don't. So what they go, the kids are going to Valley Forge. It's going to be 4 days. The plane tickets this much. Couple parents volunteered to go to be chaperones, and the bus is leaving the school at noon on Wednesday. Like that's how they do it. You would never dream of crowdsourcing it. That's our kids, and there's only like 12 kids on the team, right? And she's got to be. I saw the picture. It's a bunch of white kids. Mm-hmm. They're probably on the west side, probably, Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, Bel Air, whatever. I don't know. She's not in Pacoima. Meaning the parents of the average kid on that, and you can get a JetBlue flight for $200 now. Like the whole deal is parents pay for it. And then if somebody's coming up a little short, then Alyssa and her sister Melissa can kick in and make up the difference. But the kids are probably on the west side. I don't know what the name of the team is. I don't know where they hail from, but
the Grovelers.
And the Panhandlers.
Yeah, they're homeless kids.
You don't need to go to Cooperstown. That's
I see. So they were reaching outside of the community, asking like people in Ohio and Florida,
well,
hey,
all
send
of her
us
fans. Yeah, she tweeted this.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought she was doing it within kind of the local community with all the parents.
It's not. And by the way, it's it's kind of much ado about nothing. Who cares? It doesn't matter. I dislike her for other reasons, but this isn't one of them. And I don't like this argument, but people do. You have to kind of think about the optics.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. These are like. Where's the team from? Like, what are they called?
It looks like they're called the Birds.
Oh, now I know where they're. Oh no, and they must play in like the West Side or Malibu or something. The whole point is they come from a tax bracket where each kid's parents could just give them $700 and they go to Cooperstown.
Well,
and come back.
That's assuming.
I'm assuming.
You never know.
That.
You don't know who's on the team.
I'm assuming.
You shouldn't categorize it just because they live somewhere and they're white kids. There could be, maybe there's a kid from the other side of the tracks who's white and it's a struggle. Who knows?
Yes, there could be a kid from Encino.
See, I think when you do that with any type of thing, when you just immediately assume things, that's where you create this bullshit.
Well, when you assume,
you make an ass out of you and me.
That's what I'm saying. That's what every football coach ever told me. They just wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am assuming that they come from a decent neighborhood in a decent tax bracket, and that each kid is more than capable of parents of paying for this themselves.
But they have enough money. They're just low on dignity. So they're asking other people to pay.
Powerful. Also,
heavy.
Again, if you just travel, like, where's Cooperstown? Is that in Pennsylvania?
Ohio.
Right? Oh, I mean Cleveland. Wait, they have the Baseball Hall of Fame and the Football Hall of Fame?
New York.
Yeah.
Cooperstown? Okay, yeah, I don't know.
Dawson, you have to have a chance you're going to be right before you jump in.
I think there's a Cooperstown in almost every state, though. It's like Springfield. There's a Springfield in like 30 states.
Well, sorry, the Baseball Hall of Fame is in New York.
Okay,
like
now
upstate New York or something. The point is, you can buy a ticket, you can fly, and you can stay at a Motel 6. Now, I don't think they want to travel that way, but a coach ticket in a Motel 6 is perfectly doable. And you can do all that for $800.
Did you ever stay at the Motel 6?
I know you have.
Oh, God.
Tell us.
Oh, I'm just asking if you. I know I have.
Didn't you meet a gal over there?
You son of a bitch.
Didn't you? You want to burn some material?
No. Guy has me go into my act.
I thought you were setting you up.
No, I was asking if you'd, because you're the guy that flies in coach. I figure here's you getting off of a Southwest flight. You're sitting in coach. You smell like penis. You go right to your fancy hotel, the Motel 6, to complete the package.
I will tell you this. You guys tell me if this is weird or not. I'm going to Naples to do a bunch of shows at Off the Hook, right?
Yeah, Captain Ron.
Now, like 4 shows are sold out, but we're adding some shows.
Yeah, low ticket warning. Friday is low ticket warning, and then there's a Saturday matinee added.
Oh, okay. All right. So I got a friend named Alex I went to high school with, and he lives in Naples with his wife, and he said, I live right by the club. Do you want to stay?
No.
Do you want to stay with us?
No.
And I said, yeah, why not?
Now, my
people
God.
go like, whoa, that's weird. And I go, well, first, he's a friend, and he asked. And then secondly, I won't have to buy a hotel room. And why not? Why wouldn't I stay with my friend?
Dude, how old are you?
That's what people say to me.
You don't want your own space. You don't want to watch TV when you want, go to the bathroom when you want.
I'm assuming I could use his bathroom. I mean, when I want.
And do they really want someone's head on their fresh pillow slips who's never washed their hair? Have you told them about this? Like, they don't want to leave and go, what's this brown mark on the pillow slip?
Skid mark on the pillow.
What are these corn niblets doing on our pillow slip?
I do travel with my own pillow.
Oh, no, you don't.
Yes,
and you called me a girl for losing blood? Oh, God.
For losing blood.
God, you wear your field hockey skirt when you do it? You do not travel with your pillow.
I do. The hotel pillows are too thick.
Good
I
God.
like thin. And the hotel pillows come in 2 sizes, jumbo and mega. It's all an aesthetic. They don't make a thin pillow. They don't have an option. There'll be 4 pillows on there, all of them 9 inches thick.
So you're one of these guys in the airport. So if I see you walking through the terminal, which hand is your pillow in and which hand is your Teddy Ruxpin in? Good God. What? I hate people
Sometimes
like you.
I'll leave the flap down on my onesie just to piss off guys like you.
Sometimes you leave the flap down on your Teddy Ruxpin, too.
Listen,
it sounds like.
I travel
And that's
with a
when you
pillow.
really turn thread.
I do the pillow, I do the Teddy Ruxpin, and my Huggy Boogie. That is the only two.
Hey, Adam, get the shampoo. We could use a little lubricant. I don't have any. Shut up, Ruxpin.
All right. Dolph Lundgren's waiting out there. He's a very important
No,
man.
thanks. I'm busy.
No, you're not saying hi. When
I don't
you walk
want to.
out of the studio, you
Yeah.
make a hard right, and you keep walking until you hit your
Thank
car.
you.
You understand? You're not going to bother the man. He's a big actor. You understand?
I won't bother him.
All right. Now, is he going to pretend like he knows you? That's the question.
I don't think he knows me.
But he could be familiar with your work.
It's always amazing when when you do movies and TV, you realize who's seen you. I remember when Hillary's book came out, a few years ago, called Hillary.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, she did a thing in her book where she talked about Bernie Sanders, and she goes, Bernie Sanders is like the hitchhiker in Something About Mary. Keep selling you up 7 minutes.
Oh,
and I was like,
referenced you.
She referenced me, and then at that point, I visualized her and Bill and their lover sitting in their living room, watching little old me, like this kid out of the suburbs of Canada, and a president of the United States. It's so kind of surreal when you think about that.
I mean, here you are growing up. A nobody. I mean, your dad's just the Grand Chancellor of Quebec.
Chancellor.
and now here you are, Hillary Clinton references you.
Isn't that weird?
What was your dad's title?
Solicitor General.
Jesus
which
Christ.
is the equivalent, I think, of the Attorney General in the U.S.
Absolutely amazing.
Isn't that wild?
All right, Dolph Lundgren is out there. Harlan, you should listen to the Harland Highway. It's his podcast.
Oh, yeah, you've been on it a few times.
Always a pleasure.
Watch the Harland Highway episodes with me and Adam. You got to come on again this year. It's a new year.
Looking forward to it. I'll come on around my birthday.
When is it? The end of the year?
End of May.
Oh, great.
You give me the shampoo.
I'm going to have shampoo there.
You offer the shampoo.
I'm definitely going to have a bottle of shampoo on set.
Yes. All right. Harlan, doing shows all over the place. West Palm coming up, Dallas coming up. HarlandWilliams.com is where you go. Dolph Lundgren in studio right after this. O'Reilly. Don't miss Do It Right deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts. How long has it been since you've changed your spark plugs? Yeah, that's a good question. Replacing your spark plug can restore efficiency and performance to your vehicle. Get better gas mileage as well. And right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get a $12 O'Reilly gift card after rebate when you purchase 4 or more select AC Delco Iridium spark plugs. Maintain your performance and fuel mileage with new spark plugs from O'Reilly Auto Parts. You can also improve visibility with their new wiper blades. Right now, save $12 on a pair of Rain-X Rugged XL wiper blades. Plus, get 2 times O Rewards points. An extra large profile and premium features make Rugged XL blades the right choice for extreme weather and driving durability. The professional parts people will even install your new pair of wiper blades for free. From spark plugs to wiper blades and more. Save now with Do It Right deals in store at O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
I must break you.
If you said Rocky IV,
I must break you.
you're correct. Now, back to the show.
Dolph Lundgren himself in studio. Wanted Man is the name of the movie. It's in theaters and on demand and digital. You can get it digitally as we speak. It's co-written and directed as well starring in with Kelsey Grammer as well. Dolph, good to see you.
Hey, Adam. Good to see you, too. Yeah, good
nice
to be
job.
back.
Have you written much, directed much?
I directed 4 or 5 movies back in about 15, 20 years ago, and then I got caught up in the Expendables franchise and Creed, and I did the Aquaman picture, and I started directing again about 3 or 4 years ago. But I don't like to write too much. I just rewrite stuff, so that's why I end up getting the credit.
It was a lot of acting going on in this movie. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean, a lot of times you let your fists do the talking.
Yeah.
This is a different side of Dolph if you watched the movie.
Well, thanks. I try to do it that way. I mean, I was lucky in Creed and Creed 2 and Aquaman to get more dramatic roles. It wasn't just about kicking butt, the whole thing. It was more about, like in Aquaman, more of a political figure, and Creed 2 was, I was the trainer too. So in Wanted Man, I try to find a character, design a character who had an arc and who was, more of a challenge to play.
How'd the whole Kelsey Grammer part come about?
Yeah, there was a character in there that who plays my best friend in the film, an ex-cop, and a friend of mine suggested Kelsey because I know him from Expendables 3 and also socially, and I wasn't sure at first, but then I thought he has a really funny delivery. Everything he does is kind of comes across as comedic or light on film, and because he plays a character who is has more of a darker kind of a hidden past, then I thought it would work, and so that's the reason I wanted to use him.
So I think we've talked about a lot of this stuff, but you grow up in Sweden, you come out here to MIT to study chemical engineering.
Yes.
The fascination with martial arts and kickboxing and that kind of stuff starts early.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, yeah.
And I know I think you have a 4th degree in one of the disciplines.
Yes, in karate.
But does kickboxing start first? Kickboxing kind of used to be a sport. It's not, what happened is MMA just sort of gobbled a lot of it up, but it was a big thing. As a matter of fact, if you watch the movie Say Anything from 1984 or whatever it was, John Cusack's character is saying it's the sport of the future.
Yeah.
And he keeps talking about kickboxing, but I think they kind of meant it back then.
Well, you see, I did karate, and I competed in full contact karate. So, you wore a gi, a uniform, a white uniform with a belt, and it was an amateur sport. And when I did it, and then it morphed into something called K1, where there was K for kickboxing and one weight class, and then a lot of guys who I fought with, who I trained with, ended up being kickboxers in K1. And from K1, it kind of morphed through the Gracies. It morphed into MMA because they introduced grappling to it and put it into a cage. So, when I did it, it wasn't very commercial. It was more like a little more traditional art.
Do you think you would have done MMA if it had been around when you were 19?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I would have. Yeah, I think so.
You could have been pretty effective with that, considering your background.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I could have been.
Well, what are the rules for full contact karate?
Well, there are various types of full contact karate. The type I fought was called knockdown karate, and you didn't wear any protection, and it was only kicks and knees to the whole body and only hand techniques to the body. So no punches to the face. Yeah. So it's kind of limited in that respect. But on the other hand, you have to be pretty tough because you get hit in the body a lot. And that way you didn't need to wear any headgear or any gloves or anything.
And were you a champion at that?
I was a champion in Europe, Sweden, Europe, and Australia. Because I went to school in Australia. I studied chemical engineering down there when I was about 22, 23.
And where did that come from?
Which?
The chemical engineering part.
My dad was an engineer, electrical engineer, and my older brother was a chemical engineer. And, well, the thing is, one reason I became a fighter was because my dad was quite violent towards me when I was a kid, and I got beat up a lot. And as a lot of boys who have that, who've been through that kind of experience, that trauma, they end up in either contact sports or the military or become a cop. You know, it's and that's where you know. So that's why I did karate, and then I think I did chemical engineering to prove to my dad that I was good. You know, good at something.
Did your dad drink?
No, he didn't drink. He just
Really?
had a mental imbalance. So he should have been medicated. I found out later when I just started doing therapy myself about 10 years ago or so, because, you know, that trauma that I had, you can use it as a fighter, you can use it in acting, you can hijack it, but just because you use it doesn't mean it goes away. So I had to do a lot of therapy, and I found out about my dad that he could have been medicated, but he didn't admit that he had any problems. So that was his main problem, basically.
It's very peculiar to have a guy just be violent that way without any substance attached to it.
Yes, it is. It does. That's true, because drinking would be something you call escape behavior. When you have that trauma, you know, say you have PTSD from being in a war zone for a year and you can get killed any day, and when you come back to civilian life, it's hard to be normal, to be relaxed, and you could also get it from abuse. And I think my dad probably was abused too when he was a kid. But one way to escape is drinking, and the other way is violence or sports. So I was lucky. I took it out sort of in the dojo. You know, I took it out that way, not on other people in real life.
And would anything just set him off and he would become violent?
Yeah, it would be. I think mostly it was his own life. He wasn't happy with his own life, his own work, and it could be the smallest thing that would set him off. Like, for instance, Christmas one year, we were having a Christmas dinner, and somebody poured me a soda or whatever it was, and I pulled my cup away for some reason, my glass away, and it leaked got all over the table, and he would just go, "Okay, that's it. No more Christmas. Kids, go to bed. No presents." And then he would just like, that was it. That was Christmas that year.
Really?
Yeah.
And was your mom able to intervene or sort of run interference?
No, my mom was, he beat her up too. And she, as in any woman, you know, who's, once you accept being abused like that, you know, once if you don't escape, if you don't run away, then you kind of just accept it. And she did. So she wasn't able to protect us. She was very loving and very kind, but she wasn't able to protect me, rather, from my dad.
Is your dad still with us?
No, he isn't.
Was he around long enough to see your success?
Yeah, he was. He got more mellow as he got older. So he was around when I was, you know, doing press for Rocky and Masters of the Universe and other movies, and I think he was quite proud of me for that and for martial arts. But the funny thing is, since you mentioned him, that when I worked on this project, Wanted Man, you know, I played this character who is kind of has a lot of bitterness. He's a bit angry at the world, and I kind of modeled him a little bit on my dad. As I did in Creed 2, when I play a father, kind of a really harsh father to my kid in Creed 2. So it was interesting to get to play the other side of it, and it was easy for me to get emotional for those scenes and so forth.
You were, always a real physical specimen. So I'm guessing by the time you were 15, you probably could have handled your dad. But on the other hand, he could have been a physical specimen too. So I don't know how that would have worked.
But it's a good point. I know that you're smart, because what happened when I was about 13, I started getting too big for him to smack around. You know, I mean, he would, you know, I think he got nervous and wondering when I was going to fight back. So he sent me away to to his parents, my grandparents. They lived in a small town up north in Sweden, and that's kind of how I started studying and getting into played ice hockey and martial arts, and I got away from him, which was the best thing he had done, actually.
He sent you away to live with his parents?
Yeah.
And what was the excuse provided, or the reason that was provided?
Because I was becoming a juvenile delinquent, a thug. I was stealing motorcycles, I was drinking, smoking, skipping school, and just running away from home a lot. So he basically, he spoke to the headmaster in school, and they decided it was better for me to leave, which it was,
Leave the school, leave the neighborhood.
Leave the neighborhood. I had the wrong company, the wrong people around me, some of which those guys aren't around anymore, and they got into crime and drugs and so forth.
So you go relocate with your grandparents.
Yes.
And how are they? Those are his parents, right?
They were actually quite nice. They were in their 70s at the time, and it was in a small town up north, and there's snow up there. And they were, they kind of knew I had problems, so they were a bit strict in the beginning, but then they became like my surrogate parents, and I was very fond of them, and I think they loved me in their own way. After a while, they started being very fond of me too.
And I didn't know half raised by your grandparents, right?
Yeah.
Man. And then it was off to MIT or off to Australia, or touring, fighting, doing that kind of stuff?
Yes. Then it was off on scholarships to Australia. And then, I was in Clemson for a while, for a few months, doing some research at the university, at the Clemson University. And then I was off to MIT. That was the plan. I never followed through on that because I had a Fulbright scholarship, but I never did it because I got into show business in the meantime. Was
it people constantly sort of coming up to you because you're aesthetic, saying you should be doing something in movies?
When I was in Australia, I started doing some modeling. A photographer took some pictures of me in the gym with no shirt on and, sweaty and in boxing gear. And actually, those were the pictures I gave to Stallone through a friend of mine much later. And then I started doing some modeling. And when I came to New York, I was dating Grace Jones, who was kind of a famous singer. And I ran into Andy Warhol at a club and, David Bowie, a few other people. And then I started studying acting. I went to an acting class with Grace, just watching. And I knew there was something about it that I was attracted to. I think, obviously it was my trauma that, something I wanted to express. And did some little bit of acting. And the coach, his name was Warren Robertson, who was a kind of a big name in those days. He said, maybe you should try acting, because you had great looks.
Early 20s at this point?
Yeah, 23, yeah.
So Grace Jones, is she 6'1" or something?
No, in high heels, yeah, maybe. But 5'9", maybe.
You guys made quite a striking couple, I would say. It'd be essentially the best-looking white person and the best-looking black person got together to become a couple. She had a hit or two. She sung.
Yeah, she had a couple of hits.
Were you her bodyguard at the time?
Yeah, that's how I met her in Australia. I was doing some security work, and I ran into her at a concert, and I ended up, dating her for a little while, and she was in Australia for a few weeks, and then I had to finish school, and she went off back to New York, and then I went to Tokyo to train karate at the main dojo there, and she was in Tokyo as well, so I met her again, and then ended up going back with her to New York.
She had, I think her hit was "Slave to the Rhythm."
"Slave to the Rhythm," "Pull Up to the Bumper." Was one, yeah.
She did I don't know, house, club, dance, whatever, sort of before. Did it early. I don't know where she is or what she's doing now.
Well, she is still performing at she has her fans, and she lives mostly in London. Because I was in London a couple of years ago doing Aquaman and Expendables 4, and she was there, and I ran into her in the street, actually. Crazy.
Really?
Yeah, in the doctor's office, actually. I was late for an appointment, and somebody walked in wearing this weird motorcycle helmet. I mean, out of leather. You know, one of those old ones, you know? And this big scarf around her head. And I was like, I only know one person who dressed like that. And sure as hell, it was her. And then we talked and we met and spoke a little bit. It was great. And I met her son, who, when I met her, he was about 3 years old, and I kind of took care of him sometimes when she went out and so forth, you know. And he was now 40 and in her band playing percussion. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. It marches on, doesn't it?
Speaking of doctor's offices, I mean, I know you just announced that you've actually been battling cancer.
Yes, that's
since
right.
2015. So how's your health?
The health is good right now. Yeah, it's been a crazy ride, you know. For a while, it was pretty bad, like in 2020, 2021 is when I was in London. Because I had surgery in 2015, and then I was, then you do scans afterwards and so forth. It took out a tumor and then in my kidney, and then, you know, everything was clear. And I went to work on a film, actually, it was in Alabama, and then they called me and said they had found another tumor, and then I had to have more surgery, and then it turned out, then I was in Sweden, actually, for something, and they found another tumor. Anyway, so I ended up doing systemic therapy, which is when you, it's like chemo, when you take infusions, and it didn't work, you know. And I went to London. I had to do it there as well. And this doctor in London suddenly told us, me and my fiance, that basically, you know, I think you should stop working and, you know, just spend time with your family. And I kind of got the message, and I was kind of serious, you know. And it was, it was tough. This is why I was filming, and I didn't really know what to do. But a friend of mine here in LA went to a golf tournament, and he ran into this doctor who was a kidney specialist, and he just said, hey, a friend of mine has got kidney cancer, you know, he wants a second opinion. So through that experience, through that meeting, I sent all my documentation off to this other doctor, who's a woman over at UCLA, and Dr. Drukaki is her name, and she, as soon as I came back, we went to see her, and she said immediately, something isn't right here. I think you've been getting the wrong treatment all these years. And it turned out, for like 2 years, I'd been getting the wrong treatment. Actually, from the beginning, when she went back and looked at the biopsy, they found there was a different type of genetic DNA. The cancer was, they're all the different cells are different, you know, depending on what kind of cell it is, you get a different treatment. And I'd been getting the wrong treatment because they just assumed at the other hospital, at Cedars actually, that it was the right treatment, and it wasn't. So she changed the treatment. I got rid of those first doctors, and within like 2 months, everything shrunk, and within a year, it was small enough where they took it out with ablation, and they freeze out these dead tumors. And that was the end of last year. So, you know, since then, I've been fine.
Oh, good.
Is it? Did you change anything? Did you start, you know, eating cleaner or meditating, or what's the regimen? I mean, you look good. You look real fit. Other than good genetics.
Well, I started meditating about 10 years ago when I started doing therapy, just to get rid of that trauma I had since I was a kid. So I already did that, but I think the cancer treatment kind of just, it brings you into the moment, and it brings you to a point where I like to think of it as you're a frontline soldier, like in World War II, when you got to stay to the end of the war. Every day there's a new battle. Some of your friends get killed, but you make it. And then the next day there's another battle. You got to hit another town, and somehow you have to find a way to function in that kind of space. And I think when you're going through cancer treatment, you're in that space where death is much closer to you, and you find a way to deal with it, and life becomes more precious, I think. And so it's been a blessing in disguise to some degree for me, anyway.
So when you do Rocky IV, and it's the biggest movie in the year, maybe in the decade, I mean, nobody did not know you and your iconic phrases and the training montages and nobody. It was a great movie, but is it help? Does it hurt? I mean, it opens a ton of doors, but now everyone wants you to be this same person, which I could see. It happens with sitcoms. People get into sitcoms and they have a ton of success, but then they get typecast or they can't get out from under that character. So is it all good, or were there some downside to it?
Well, there certainly was some downside. I mean, look, first of all, when I got the role, nobody knew me. I was an out-of-work actor and living in New York, working as a doorman, so as a bouncer. So things picked up for sure. But you're right. People want you to, the physicality was quite important in those days, especially before didn't have visual effects and such. So a lot of the actors who became famous, like Arnold or Stallone, Van Damme, Seagal, you had to be able to do a lot of things yourself. You couldn't use doubles in the same way, and you had to do a lot of your stunts. And I had that ability, so it was helpful. But yeah, for sure, I always wondered if I hadn't gotten Rocky IV, and if I would have kept studying acting and gotten some other type of roles, then where would that have gotten me? But I think it was my destiny to use my body and physique. So it took me about 25 years to try to get roles where it wasn't only physical, but there was a little more drama as well, a little more acting, let's say.
How did people on the streets react when they saw you after the movie came out? Did they accept you positively, or did they hate you because they were patriots?
Drunken guys must have wanted to fight.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, not too many people pick to fight, because you're not going to pick a fight with the biggest guy in the bar, especially somebody who is a karate champion. But people did. They weren't too happy about killing Apollo, especially. A certain part of the population were a little upset with me, still am. Sometimes I hear it. I always say Sly wrote the script. I didn't. I did what I was told. Hit him, Dolph. Go ahead. So, no, it was a mixed bag of experience. But I do think that there was something in that character, the way it was designed, where the real bad guy was the Soviet state, and I was kind of Frankenstein's monster. He was somebody who was created and did what he was told, and I think that's probably why I ended up playing the lead in other movies afterwards. Didn't just play the bad guy. And
I thought Creed 2 was a redemption of the character, and so I know there's going to be a Drago spinoff. Is there any news about that?
The Drago spinoff, they worked on it for a while at MGM, and then Creed 3 came and did very well, so that is kind of a focus now, as I hear. But, I mean, it's something I like to do. I mean, the thing is, it has to be really good, because I've done it twice. So for me to play that character again, I really think that it should be something that hopefully Stallone could be involved in, and something that's well put together,
Oh, is it not written yet?
There was a script that wasn't that great, so it went back in development.
Is Stallone the most underrated or maybe least appreciated maybe man in Hollywood. Not that he's underrated and unappreciated, but his body of work is insane. Most people get one franchise series and most don't, I should say, but if you capture lightning in a bottle, maybe you get one franchise thing. Him with 3 or 4 is insane. I feel, I mean, I don't know him like you know him. I've spoken to him a few times. He likes to punch his hand when he talks, and he starts getting fired up. And I think in his world, I think he thinks there's a bunch of guys in Hollywood that get a bunch of credit that he doesn't really get, even though his body of work is so far past what they have accomplished.
Right.
And I think he just feels a little like he doesn't get the respect from the town, not from the people, but from Hollywood in general, that his resume again is when you just get into the Rambos and you get into the Rockies and it's just all the things Expendables and all the things that come off of that. Does that seem accurate to you?
Yeah, I think it could be some truth in what you're saying. It's hard for me to speculate, but no, he certainly is a very accomplished, very successful guy, very smart, and he's a great writer. And he was nominated for Best Actor twice, one for Best Screenplay and Best Picture. So, yeah, I think, it's probably hard to, maybe it's just tough both to be an action star and to be, recognized as an artist in this town. They're difficult, both things. Sometimes, now it works in a different way than in those days, because now it's more like you win the Academy Award, next thing you're playing a superhero.
Right.
In a suit with 5 doubles, and it wasn't like that before. A lot of the guys who did those roles came the physical way. You're Aikido instructor. You're Stegall, or you're a Mr. Universe, or you're a karate champion, or whatever. So Sly came in. He came in through being an artist and being a writer. He came in that other way. So maybe he does. Maybe So. Maybe he feels a little more like what you said, But I recognize that, and it's for me. Sometimes it's more satisfying to have the valet parkers be your fans. They're more loyal and loving in some ways than maybe a critic would be.
Did he back, especially when you first met him and you start sparring or you start choreographing, fight scenes and stuff? Did it feel like there's a little testosterone going there? Little who's the king of this dojo? Was there some of that? Because guys have egos.
Well, look, when I started, I didn't know anything about show business, and he was already, a big star. So he was my boss, and I was just learning from him. And he was more like a role model or a mentor, I would say. I mean, in the ring, once you're sparring in a movie fight, like you can't hit the other person, so there's nothing you can prove really, and you can't, you just got to do the choreography. But obviously there is a competition physically who was going to be the most ripped or the most muscular and so forth. But, I must tell you, I was a bit impressed because I was 27 and I was, a karate champion and he kept up with me and, he was 10 years older. So I thought he did pretty well for in those days, what I thought an older guy. He was 37.
I know, it's so crazy now.
Yeah.
The craziest game is when you go back and you look at these iconic sitcoms or TV shows and you go, Captain Steubing was 42 in the first season of The Love Boat. Like Archie Bunker was 44. Like how young. You're older than I'm older than all the dads in every sitcom and the Waltons and stuff, and they seem so old. when you were that age. But I think old people used to act their age.
Yeah, I think so too.
And now they dress it up young. They keep after themselves. It's not the same. Women would wear their hair totally differently once they hit their age of 40. No extensions, no Real Housewives of Orange County, none of that. It was they acted their age.
I agree. No, I think what is 60 is the new 40, you know, and it's kind of how it is. People are more active as they get older, and yeah, it's changed to good for us.
Were your grandparents who sort of raised you around when you hit that success?
My grandmother was around, and she was very happy and very proud. And
I mean, you must have been the talk of the village, right?
You know, yes. She moved to Stockholm, the capital in Sweden, after she got older for her kids to take care of her. So I met her in Stockholm, but I did go back to that little village after about 20 years. And it was a trip, you know, to go back there. And my friends had moved 500 yards across the street, you know, while I had been in Hollywood and done all the other things. But I still have friends up there, so I still go back once in a while.
How did you find? So I had a lot of kind of loser friends from, you know, a different place than you, but they're everywhere, you know. Yeah. And then at some point I got a little disciplined, I got some success, you know, but I sort of realized that doing it their way wasn't going to work, you know, for me. Like I was going to have to get out of this area and kind of do a version of what you didn't. Hang around with people that knew stuff and were more successful and stuff like that. And some of them liked it, and then some of them didn't like it. Some of them didn't work well. I mean, I have lost a few of the old friends because they thought, oh, now you go on Hollywood or now you make money, you think you're this or that. Did that happen with you?
To some degree it happened, but also I kept moving so fast. I moved from northern Sweden. I went to Stockholm, then I went to Australia, then I went to America. So I kind of left people behind. I didn't really have a chance to experience how they felt about me. But later in life, when I came back, when I lived in Spain for a while, I had a family. I was married, lived in Spain, and when I came back, when I started doing therapy, I started realizing that there were people around me who weren't good for me, you know, and I had to lose some of them. So I went through that, and it wasn't difficult, but it was a bit painful to realize that these people had kind of kept me back, or you know, they were kind of using me for their own ends.
Did you ever become, as we say in America, douchey? Like you have all this crazy success, you see what you look like in the mirror, stepping out of the shower. You have women want to be with you, men fear you. Like you're from a small place. Like at some point, it would be very your dad was abusive. You know, it would be natural for you to get a big head and get caught up in your own world.
Yeah, well, I don't think so. Not really. I think martial arts kept me humble, and I think being in the dojo and all those years, yeah. I don't think I've had too much problems with that. Rather, I've been more of a people pleaser all my life, because that's another thing you can develop. You know, when my dad used to tell me I was useless and all this. So you kind of overcompensate. So I think I've been maybe too nice to people, and they've taken advantage of me. That's been a weakness I've had.
Do you overcompensate with your kids?
Yeah, I did that. I overcompensated because I was gone a lot when they grew up. I was off filming, and I would, you know, compensate with like expensive vacations or material things. So, but they've turned out pretty good anyway. So, because I always gave them love, and I always filled them in on what was going on in my life when I started doing therapy and all this. So they kind of have watched me change and grow, I would say, as a person.
Yeah, I hate the excuse that when somebody's dad was bad to them, and then they go, well, he's bad to his kids because his dad was bad to him. I always go, but he knows firsthand the pain of that. And so of all people, you shouldn't do it. But so many people do. But it is nice to be aware and just go, I'm not going to make the same mistakes. And then also a kind of like, I have kids. I would be devastated if they thought I was an asshole. You know, like I would really feel bad. I really would. Like I'm kind of confused that so many people are okay with that notion. You know, like, I don't know, like if we said to your dad, what do you think Dolph thinks of you? Do you think he'd say he thinks I'm the greatest dad in the world? Or he'd probably say he's scared of me or, you know, whatever. But why would that be okay? You know what I mean? Wouldn't you be devastated if your kids thought you were an asshole?
Yeah. Or in his case, I think he would just, he would never think that thought. He would find a way around it or avoid it internally, you know, because he wouldn't want to face reality. But no, I think you're completely right. I mean, for your kids to respect you and love you and look up to you, and you know, you have to be firm with them, but you have to give them love, and you have to, you know, it's a fine balance. You know, they say kids don't do what you say; they do what you do. So you have to be a role model to some degree as well.
Was it tough because you come from so much discipline? In especially training martial arts, right? So you come from a lot of discipline because it's really all we're talking about. It's just repetition, sweating, doing stuff you don't really want to do, and then doing it over and over and over again. And so you come from all this discipline. I mean, that's what they call the different martial arts, the different disciplines. You know, it's right in the title. And then I come from that to some degree as well. Used to be a boxing coach and that kind of stuff. And then you have kids, and they're not raised in the dojo. They're hanging around. They're missing that thing, and that thing is what got you successful, and sort of made you who you were. That discipline, that being able to kind of break yourself, not just, you know, Stallone. But it's a weird thing because if you start really getting it with the kids, then we've now formed a society where you're not allowed to do that. But yet it's a quality that led to all of your success. And it's all the guys I know that are successful have this kind of discipline. But you raise the kids now. There's money. There's air conditioning. No one has to go mow lawns to save up money to buy a movie ticket or anything. It's all just on iPhone, you know, Apple Pay, whatever. So now you're caught in this place because you're the disciplined person. And the only reason we know your name is because of that exquisite discipline you have. On the other hand, you see these kids, they're not prone to discipline, and somebody's going to have to graft that onto them, but in some sort of way where nobody really notices. Because if you do it in a heavy-handed way, you'll be accused of being a bad dad, and you may turn them against you.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's a catch-22 situation you end up in if you have success. And like you said, to be successful, usually you need to be hard on yourself. And how do you communicate that to your kids? You know, I've tried with my kids too. I mean, they're two daughters, so you know that's different than if they were boys, probably. And I'm happy they were daughters, because when they grew up, I was a bit screwed up at that point. You know, when they were little, and I wasn't as aware of myself and how to act and so forth. So, but I think now, I think they've picked things up from me. I'm hoping that they can learn some discipline from me and some of how to behave, but also things that I wasn't able to learn from my parents, which is, you know, to be able to say you're sorry, to be able to change yourself as a person, to be able to examine yourself, to do therapy and those things. For my kids, that's completely normal for them. And to examine, to feel like, well, maybe I need to work on this, maybe I need to work on that. You know, my parents had none of that. So I like to give them not only discipline, but something else too.
Was there something to the Swedish culture? Like certain cultures are not really huggers, and certain cultures don't like talking about therapy. You know, and other cultures are different that way. The Swedes, are they a little colder that way?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, they don't talk much about emotions. They don't say "I love you." They, they're that way. My kids grew up in Spain, and partially here in America, so they have a different way of looking at things. But you're right. No, Sweden is not known for great bursts of emotion. It's not Italy.
but there are often times when they try to rank the happiest cultures. They seem to be up there.
I know they always say that, but I don't get it.
I don't get. I'm like, tell your face. You don't seem to be smiling very often. You don't dance. Yeah, I mean, there's a few cultures that always get ranked the highest in the happiness rankings, and Sweden's always up there. But then you talk to them, they go, well, they don't like to dance, and they're not really huggers, and they don't say I love you. Maybe that's the key to happiness.
They drink a lot.
Maybe we do too much love you, bro. Love you, bro.
We're showing too much emotion.
Too much
here.
hugging.
You don't drink enough.
That's true. That could be it too.
We have a trailer of you flipping a coin.
Okay.
Which you brought up off the air.
It's his new,
which I had not
project here.
I've not seen, but maybe you could set the table for us a little, Dolph. You brought it up. I hadn't, and I've seen the movie Wanted Man. I enjoyed that, but I have not seen this. What is this?
This is a little TV show I did for Maximum Effort, which is Ryan Reynolds' company, and they have this new Maximum Effort TV channel. And this is a little thing they came and pitched to me. It's basically me flipping a coin for 30 minutes, different angles, and an IKEA kind of looking set. I speak Swedish in it, and it's either something for your viewing pleasure, or I guess you could use it to bet or to wager.
Do you know Ryan Reynolds?
No, I don't know him, actually. I just met the producers, and he seems like a funny guy and a good sense of humor.
He's a very nice guy.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
I'd like to see you do more comedic roles and comedic things, because I find you you're sharp, you're self-aware. I think it'd be great if you did more comedy.
Let's take a
Latin slant.
That's Malin Ackerman's voice.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, she narrates the.
Yeah.
Oh, she speaks Swedish?
I guess, yeah. That's what I've heard.
Oh, really? I had the boxing gym I used to work at had a beautiful blonde Swedish receptionist, and she was known as the Svenska flicka, which it means beautiful girl or something.
Swedish girl,
right? Swedish girl, yeah. And she was always standing out front, looking good.
Yeah, sure.
Where was your boxing gym, by the way?
Well, my boxing gym was a place called Bodies in Motion, which used to be on the west side, and then we opened the one in Pasadena, and then the Pasadena one moved to Bergnoli's old gym in Pasadena, I don't know, somewhere in Old Town, Pasadena. I made a boxing movie as well, a little bit bigger than yours.
Really?
Yeah,
a little bit. I mean, look, I don't. We can check the box office. I don't know.
We'll look after.
Pasadena. I think I've been to that gym. Is that the old one that's upstairs? I shot something up there.
They had an upstairs part of it. They had a downstairs part of it.
Okay.
And I used to be a coach there. And we had a Swedish girl, and I don't even know her name, but she was a Svenska flicka. That's all I remember.
Well, speaking of gyms and beautiful blondes, so Dolph, I want to congratulate you on getting married recently.
You.
And I
thanks,
know you met your wife at the gym, right? And your attractor, you talked to her, and she had no idea about your acting career at all.
No. I was asking for the boxing room actually to use the heavy bag. I was just looking for someone to ask.
Imagine Drago tapping you on the shoulder.
Yeah, she had no idea. She had no clue, but her parents knew me from Norway,
I was wondering what movie do you give her to show her like who you are? Because I wouldn't do Rocky IV because you're the bad guy.
No, I think I was lucky. Her dad used to be a cop in Norway, so her dad was an action fan. So that helped me a little bit.
I don't know if I believe it. And the only reason I say it is because when they interview NBA All-Star legend and great Karl Malone, his wife claims that even though she lived in Utah, she had no idea who Karl Malone was and thought he was a mailman because his nickname is the mailman. And I'm like, I think that's a little dubious.
Yeah.
That's a little dubious. And she's like, well, I met him at a mall where he was signing autographs. I was like, 7 foot.
Do you see
brother.
the picture on the?
Mailmen don't have lines of 4,000 people
Right.
for you to sign autographs while you're dunking. But
Now I'm dubious.
She claims that she thought Karl Malone was a mailman.
No way.
All right,
That
so
sounded dubious,
I don't believe it. But Dolph Lundgren, she's quite a bit younger, right?
Yeah, she is.
She's in her 20s.
Yeah.
I could believe.
Well,
First
you
off,
know.
young people don't know jack squat about anything anymore.
She's
There's
here,
no
right?
reverence.
Wait a second.
That just means you're young. Nobody knows. I brought up the Mary Mac and the Monitor to these guys. They have no idea what the two. No, Chris doesn't know what the Mary Mac or the Monitor is either. See
That old
anyone
comedy
in a
duo?
fort- No. The Civil War had a battle between the first two ironclad ships. They were the Mary Mac and Monitor. I'm just saying, it's not hip to know about anything old or anybody old anymore.
I already tuned out.
That's the new thing. So I'm not surprised if you're.
Maybe you're right, but young people, they have their own energy and they know a bunch of stuff we don't. So I appreciate learning new things from her
you get
too.
to learn their pronouns. That's awesome.
That's true. We live in West Hollywood, so
Oh
I'm
yeah, you
used
need
to
that. Yeah.
So you go into put a little time in on the heavy bag. She doesn't know who you are, but
No.
there's an attraction there. There's a spark.
Yeah, there was an attraction, and we worked out together for a while. We were friends for quite some time actually, and then eventually we ended up dating. But I didn't plan on it because I came out of another relationship. I didn't want to meet anybody new really, so I was just we just ended up talking and liking each other.
And she thought you were a mailman, right?
No, Swedish mailman. No, she found out after a while. I guess her parents figured out who it was, and they told her. But I thought that was cool that she didn't know. It was much better that way.
Yeah. It is much better, except where there is a part where they don't talk to you in the first place because they don't know. That's the part you have to factor in. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Dolph, you don't have that problem, but I'm saying for others, who may not be as striking as you physically, there's the chance they're not going to talk to you in the first place.
Yeah, well, she's quite an old soul, as I think, as I say. So we do have a lot in common, actually. And it turns out that it's not that different to be born, when I was born, or 30 years later, or 40 years later. I mean, it's not 100 years, it's not 200 years. I mean, this is the same. Life isn't that much different, really, than it was. It's just we make it feel that way, but a couple of hundred years from now, it won't matter anyway. So find somebody that makes you happy. That's all.
Great. Yeah, congratulations again.
Thanks.
So for you, maybe a little more writing, maybe a little more directing.
Yes.
Lots more. Is it just me, or are you busier now as an actor than 15 years ago or 20 years ago?
I think I'm busier with stuff I like better. Like back then, I was just doing a lot of movies just to make a living, to pay the bills. I lived in Europe back then for a while, and now I just end up doing things I like more. And I think that doing the therapy and getting through that and kind of getting over that trauma and everything has helped me to find myself, and it turn out that some of the work I'm offered is more in line with what I want to do, what I wanted to do back then, but I couldn't really.
Yeah.
Well, so because of your success and your physicality and all that stuff, you were probably getting pushed a lot of different directions, whereas most, I worked in Hollywood same as you did, but people didn't need me to do this or need me to do that. I got to just sort of do what I wanted to do because nobody cared. And it wasn't a oh, you got to do this kind of thing or that kind of thing. And you probably had that way more than most actors.
Yes, way more. I had very little experience when I first got famous. I'd studied acting for a year. I hadn't done any auditions really. That was almost like my second audition, and I was very physical. And I think I also didn't have the best advisors, and I ended up doing a lot of stuff that maybe I shouldn't have done, but I did it, and it was part of my growth, and here I am. So I don't really regret it. It was just the way things happen.
Right. And in Aquaman too. I know Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom. You play Amber Heard's dad.
Yes.
And I saw a report that said that she was only in the film for about 20 minutes, 11 lines, because of all the public mishaps in the trial with Johnny Depp and everything. You guys had to do like reshoots, and it was edited. And do you think it was fair what happened to her, and you even?
Well, whether it was fair or not, I don't know. But I don't think it was very smart from the filmmakers, because they had a good script that they shot. They spent $230 million shooting a script with a great director, James Wan, and they should have just kept that. And they should have not cared, in my opinion, about what Amber Heard had done, in court with Johnny Depp and all of that. They should have just made the movie they wanted to make and basically told the audience, you don't want to see Amber, stay home.
Yeah,
we don't care. We don't care. But instead, they spent a shitload of money, maybe another 100 or something, to recut and reshoot for a whole year and a half. And I think it ruined the story because it was not as good as it was.
We got to get the original cut released then, just like the way they did the Snyder cut.
Oh, yeah, right.
Maybe eventually it will. But, obviously, because I play her dad, I was cut down too. But I wasn't cut down that much. It wasn't so much that things were compressed. It was more like once you bring in a new storyline and you try to intertwine that with an existing storyline, it's very complicated. And usually you end up failing in whatever you try to do.
I wonder if that's a little bit sexist, because Johnny Depp was fragged just as much as she was in that thing, but we probably wouldn't have done that with him. Meaning,
well, because she was portrayed as the villain in the trial.
But he didn't come across. He wasn't unscathed in this whole process. But I think we're willing to put up with more of it with a guy than with a girl, and I think there's an element of that. I agree. They shouldn't have messed with it.
Yeah.
How could that work out? and spend another $100 million.
Well, Dolph knows he's been directing. He knows how hard it is.
Wanted Man is the name of the film. It's very good. I watched it last night, and it's on demand, and it's digital, and it's in theaters. And what else, Dolph? Kelsey Grammer's in it as well. And if you want to watch a guy flip a coin for 30 minutes, you can tune in and check that one out as well. Dolph, anything we're missing here?
No, it was a pleasure talking to you guys again. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime you like. I'm going to be in Naples, not Italy, Dolph.
Dolph was asking.
Florida. Yeah, working my ass off. That'll be this weekend. We added a fifth show, so you can come out and say hi. Until next time, Adam Crawford, Dolph Lundgren, and Harland Williams saying mahalo.